Hello everyone, it's Lennon. Welcome to the channel. I wanted to jump on this tags bandwagon, okay? The tag wagon here. From my lovely friend Ravneet from Winds of Reflection, okay? Actually, pause because I've got to go get my list. Here we go. I've got the prompts. There's 10 prompts of show us your backs, okay? And there's been a lot of responses because, you know, I agree largely that our tarot decks are lovely items and tools that we use all the time, and the backs don't always receive a lot of love, but man, they can be powerful, or opposite, they can be really ugly, okay? And then they can like kind of make or break a deck, to be honest with you. And then you don't even really talk about it. You're just like, oh God, I hate this, or I love this, or da-da-da-da. And it's just like never really talked about, right? So I loved this concept, but I'm taking a page out of my other friend, Rachele, over at Amethyst Ascension. I'll leave their channel links below for you. And I'm gonna use only my decks, the ones I've made. Just because, just whatever, you know, show them some love, and I use them all the time. They're my babies, okay? They're my babies, and I've got them all lined up here because I've got my list here that has the names of the prompts and the decks that I chose for each of them. But just look how beautiful. I'm gonna pan out. Look how beautiful they all look up there, like lined up. So beautiful. I mean, there's some off to the sides too, but golly, I just love looking at them in a line in a row like that. So, and I got my crystals here because we always have the crystals here for the grid, right? So that we know when we're going out of frame, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, okay. I gotta take this one out of its box. All of the rest of them I took out of their bags and boxes, but I'm gonna take this one out. Okay. Let's see. Now, the first prompt is most gorgeous, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna put a picture here, right here, okay, of my upcoming deck, right? Only because I chose this one because I love the backs of these so much. I had to like redo the colors and the vignettes and all that, and it just ended up being so beautiful. Now this is for my Dark Altar Tarot, right? It's kind of like an Oracle / tarot, but it is definitely a tarot deck, and it is available on Make Playing Cards without their titles, without their tarot titles on them. And I'm kind of leaning towards making an edition that is titled, but this is a jumbo size tarot Oracle / whatever deck that I made for magic and mysticism, and I love it so much. But my prototype has not come in, so because Make Playing Cards has offered us a lot of disappointing changes that I just don't know what to do yet. I'm not sure what I would do going forward with this whole Make Playing Cards bullcrap. However, all right, that's not the point. The point is that these backs of the Dark Altar Tarot, which I don't have a copy of, but is available for you to peruse. There's also a free it's like a guidebook, but not really. I didn't put any like words in it. I just, because there's titles on the cards that I have made up to go with each tarot card. That's why it's considered oracular in nature, but every card is associated with a tarot card, including the quartz. So I put a guide that tells you, okay, this is the Queen of Wands, or the Queen of Fire, because I use the elements. But you can go and download the free, you know, just to have a perusal, right? Like just to see the images, just to see, you know, how you're driving with it. I'd actually love some feedback on the titles that I chose. Like for instance, for the strength card, oh my God, I love the strength card in this deck. Oh, I called it Feral Nurture instead of Strength. And it's all about this, like, you know, bestial animal portion that lives inside of us, yada, 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 okay? Because, you know, I'm an advocate for that. But anyway, so if y'all wouldn't mind, you know, go and download the free guide and then come back and, like, email me or DM me on Instagram or something and give me some feedback as to how you feel about the titles, you know, the titles that aren't the tarot titles. They're kind of something different. I don't know. It's just something like innovative that I was working on. So let me know. All right, let's get into this. Now the rest of these are actual decks, so we're going to go through them. Now, the prompt number 2 is a deck back that you would like as a wallpaper or fabric. Now, there's a lot of my decks probably could be some kind of fabric. And the Dark Altar Tarot, the picture that I just showed, would look amazing as a Victorian Gothic manor wallpaper, like a damask wallpaper. Golly. But I'm not a wallpaper girly. No. I like paint. But even more so, I'm kind of in the... I really like the Mediterranean stucco, right? I love stucco. So I chose an Eden Kiss for my wallpaper slash fabric. I actually love the techniques that you can use with stucco and with paint on the walls, right? And I like the way that this could be like a base blood red color, right? Let's just first, for a base color. And then you go in and kind of sponge or paper towel or some kind of newspaper or whatever, and you just kind of like sponge shapes, just random shapes on the walls, and to kind of brush this kind of hint of almost like this patina effect, right? I love that. But if I had a room of my own, okay, a very quiet sanctuary, this would definitely be something that I might consider. If for anything else, just like the effect that this could have on the walls. And I want to tell you something. I've been working with this deck a hell of a lot, okay? A hell of a lot. And look at that Bathed in Serpent Fire card. Oh my God. Now, if you know, you know, but this is a Lilith and Eve as lovers deck. They're lovers in this one. It's my deck to commemorate the feminine and Eden and the story and making your own destiny and not really having to go. You can go against the norm. You can go against the grain, so to speak. I love this card. God. Urgh. So, yeah. And I've got walkthroughs of all these on the channel. So if you're interested in any of these, I got walkthroughs. So that was an Eden Kiss for my wallpaper. All right, now what's the next one? A back that is magical or mysterious. Now I chose my Immortal Lab. This is my Oracle deck that, how do I word this? I made this from snippets of poetry that I wrote for Immaculate Immortality, which is my dark feminine poetry book. Critically acclaimed now, all right? I've always wanted to say that. But I made this oracle based on those poems, like just snippets, small snippets. You wouldn't know the goddesses associated with them, but it really isn't, that's not the point. The point is that I used the poems and then made these kind of collaged images around those snippets. Disciplined, beloved hearts. Oh my God, I love this. Vows between seeds. That's definitely Persephone. Mold the mountains. Backlit by hell. That's a lot of people's favorite in this deck. It's my Persephone. Fuse seasons percolation. Shrapnel in veins. Oh, love that. I mean, if I do say so myself, because I made these images and I wrote these poems. So, but I chose these backs because they're magical. I have this thing, okay? I have a thing about stars, right, in the night sky. Like shooting stars, we can really use a wish right now. Okay, sorry, stop. I have a thing about stars and galaxy images and nebula images and, stuff like that. I love that stuff. So I used this for the Immortal Lab Oracle, but and at first, it was just going to be the purple back, right? Like the purple, because it had to be purple, because Immaculate Immortality's color is purple. But something was off, right? And I just decided to add the pearl, right? And then I kept taking it off and shrinking it and making it bigger. I don't know. I messed with it a lot. And then finally I landed on this composition. And I anxiously awaited the prototype to come in because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like the pearl. It's just so like in your face. But I absolutely love this. I love it. And it's mysterious in a way because you're like, what the hell's the pearl? You know, like, what does a pearl mean? Now, the pearl is basically my magical, mysterious symbol for the feminine because it can symbolize other things, if you know, okay? So the pearl was really an important symbol that I'm using for the feminine for the deck, really. And anyway, so I got the prototype in and fell in love with it. And it does feel very magical, you know? So, love it. Look at all the colors. I love colors, God. Want, howling, haunting. Yes. Yes. Sanctuary, slain is my Medusa. Not that it matters, okay? I just know which goddesses go with which. So, Medusa was definitely Sanctuary, slain. All right. Next one is a card back that could be put on a journal or a tote bag. And I actually used to have a tote bag that had pictures of candles on it. So I chose my Candescent Oracle. This is one of my older decks, actually. This is an older deck that I made years and years ago. Still love it. This is using my chiaroscuro art images, and the words were really I really plugged in to get the wordings right. So I'm using, you know, really different art styles, but I tried hard to stick with this kind of black-white shadow and light aesthetic, as in this chiaroscuro, like Caravaggio type of art style. So, and I zoomed in a lot to make the picture what it needed to be. So anyway, it's not about the cards though, it's about the backs. But I worked really hard on these backs because at first I was like, okay, I could just do black because I like, hey, I like just a plain old color on the back of my decks too. Like, I don't always have to have a pattern, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, does it have to be symmetrical? Does it have to be, could it just be one candle? And I even tried to make it to where it looked like there was one candle burning at both ends, because I did realize that while I like asymmetry in general, for a lot of these, I chose symmetry so that it could be the same in case someone likes reversals. So it's important to me sometimes to choose whether I want it to be red reversed or not. And that's a good indicator for me, that if a back isn't reversible, then that means that the vision of the deck won't include reversals. So for the majority of the decks that I own, even outside of my own decks, if a backing, say for an Oracle, isn't reversible, I won't use reversals, because it just seems like that's it's anathema to the Oracle's vision. So anyway, but whatever. So with this, excuse me, I played around so much with what these backs were going to look like, and it took me a while to like thin these out with Adobe and get it to be like transparent, and I had to put images on top of each other to kind of build these images, and then I had to mirror the whole thing. And then blend the middle, and anyway, it was just a process, but I fell in love with it, and I would love to have this like on the front of a journal, you know? This image is so cool, and with it being symmetrical like this, it kind of seems like, well, maybe just that, you know, would be cool on a journal, or a tote bag. But I did have a black tote bag that had like candles on it like this, kind of looking, not picture, but more art-like, but anyway. I think that this would be nice on a tote or a journal front. And I even thought about making some of these, not some of the backs, but some of the images that I create and the art that I create into journals and fabrics and all of that. And if you're interested, I do have merch available. I have the 9 of Swords blanket, which you can buy in a tapestry. I have my High Priestess tapestry. I've made a couple of other tapestries. Now, all my merch is, well, all my real, I would say my real merch, I put a lot of my ideas out there, is on Redbubble, right? And you can just click my link tree and just go have a look around, right? Because I've got a lot of fabric, a lot of tapestries, a lot of journal stuff, and it's like witchy, you got tarot stuff, you've got just plain things I made up from my poetry. So if you're in the mood to like go and get some like, I don't know, homemade stuff like this, like journals, tapestry, stuff like that, go check out my merch. Anyway, okay. The next one is a back that gives you instant calm. Okay. I chose my Wild Nature, Wild You Oracle for this. I love this deck. I use it all the time. It is integral to my practice. Wild Nature, Wild You came about because I needed an oracle that mixed nature and used words that could be for nature and human. Like there was like a blending of nature and humanity. And so I chose images and words that I could use for both. And it's been like almost my most used oracle to date. And it's just nature images, you know? I mean, most people don't like photo oracles like this, but I mean, for the simplicity of this, I probably could have done this in some kind of art way that I could have come up with, and it would have been an art deck instead of a photo deck. But I chose photo because I really wanted to be able to pinpoint, okay, I am a tornado, you know, I am a spider web, and have that be some kind of bridge. The oracle is the bridge. When I shuffle and choose a card, I need it to be the blending. The shuffling is the blending, and there's like a sacred shape-shifting that happens inside this deck. I love these stinging nettles here, God. So, yeah. Guide with the falling star. Diligence. Yes, with the honey there. So, yeah, anyway, I love this. This is my most used oracle. So, it's probably really only for that reason that the backs give me that instant calm. Because I can just have this sitting over on my little tarot table or whatever all the time. And as soon as I look at this rust, because that's what this is, it's like a rust salt painting blend thing, I immediately know what I'm about to do when I want to pick it up and shuffle it and pull some cards. It just fills me with this sense of vocation. I'm coming to the deck for something, for a purpose. And it's like the entire deck has this grand destiny with me. And so I don't think a lot of people have this deck, to be honest. Is this one upside down? Yep. I don't think a lot of people even like know, because it's so old, you know, like it's so old. I don't know if a lot of people know about this deck, but it's literally one of my favorites, most used, for real. So, instant calm, Wild Nature, Wild You. Okay, number 6 is Portal to Another World. Now, we have another Star Spangled, all right, because this is Lost in Magic, my Lost in Magic Oracle. This is one of my more recent ones, but it's just a night sky. but it's not necessarily just a nebula night sky kind of thing. This is a black with the twinkling stars on it. And this this reminds me of, because I do this a lot, what I call night bathing, where I sit out on my back deck and just look at the stars. That's it. I just stare at them. And I might have my headphones in with music. I might just be listening to the frogs and crickets. And I do that in any weather. No, that's not true. If it's raining, I don't do it. But I do that I'll say in any season. That's what I meant. I go out there in the winter. I go out there in the spring, summer, fall, and I'll just cozy up with blankets if I need to. But I love to just sit out in my lawn chair and look up. And that's what this makes me feel like. And I always use that type of night scrying and night bathing. It turns into this meditative practice for me, where I let my mind wander, my imagination wander, or my mind is able to effectively blacken out with nothing. Like nothing's in there. It's just, I'm swirling with the earth, you know? And looking at these backs makes me feel that feeling. This meditative, I'm lost in the moment, lost in surrender to the night sky, to the stars, seeing what's twinkling, what's not. And I just blanking out the brain, and it acts as a very effective meditation practice for me. So that's my portal to another world. This is the front. Love this deck too. It's been great and to have out on the shelf. Like I said, this is kind of new to my practice because it's new. I recently made it. Another collage. Dreamweaver. God, I love that. Housed Debts of Unknowns. Oh, I love this. I love that. It's just turned out so well. Liquid Libraries. I love this card. Liquid Libraries. Hypnotic Spectators. This reminds me of a Victorian seance. Oh, it's just... Oh, Invisible Names. This is good too. I love this lapis with the sarcophagus. So this turned out really well. And I'm deeply proud of it. And I want to use it all the time. Ancient Communique is a really good card too. Tender Sparks. Now, this is another one that I've used. The backgrounds of every single card has a space image. Stars, space, nebula. I used, that as the backdrops of what I wanted to build. And, like, look at that. I love that desert picture. But then, the flowered tree. Almost a, bougainvillea thing. So, yeah. So, every card has one of these space images. Love this. So simple. It's like, this is the back end of that star explosion. Oh, okay. Anyway, could talk about this deck all day. So, yeah, but just the simple back right here gets me in touch with that other world, All right. Number 7, gift someone based on the back. Now, of all of my decks, I think that the one that would be most appropriate here is this one, because this looks like a gift. Like, I would buy a gift bag that looked like this, right? Maybe not the pennies, but like the circle pattern on the back of this with the rose. Like, I could see this as a gift bag with like pink, this kind of baby pink tissue paper coming out of it. Like, that would be a nice gift. So I'm kind of taking it in this kind of prompt to go that way. But this is my Thoth Ozone Oracle. This is my oracle that is based on Thoth without the court cards, and they're numbered like an oracle. So each card is associated with an oracle. I mean, a Thoth tarot card. Like, this is 9, so this is the Hermit card. This is Success. As you can see, I try to use the Thoth keyword so that everyone would kind of know which card associates with it. So this would be the 6 of Discs. as a success card. So I'm super proud of this. Look at that, defeat known. Because the defeat card is the 5 of swords. Legions incoming. Fall upward towards is the tower card. Ooh, look, this is a 3 of swords. Love that. Balanced blade, that's the justice card, or, well, the adjustment card, to be honest with you. And sown and gained is the gained card. So that would be the 9. The 9 of discs, yes. Transient beauty, this is the stillness card, actually. So this is the 8 of wands. And it actually ended up turning out to be looking a lot like the Thoth card. So, anyway, I'm super proud of this. Look at that chariot card. Love it. It's the art card. The magician. Ennui of the heart. Oh, God. So, yeah. Anyway, this is my Thoth-based tarot/oracle. But the back, and I tried to I work hard. See, because I have a few Thoth-based decks in my collection of decks that I've made, and I work hard to keep the Thoth. What would you say? I want to be able to keep respecting the Thoth as a deck, as a system, and the brown with the Rosicrucian cross and all of that. There's so much respect that I have for the backs of the Thoth that I try to keep with that same. I try to marry all of my decks in a way so that if you pick up one of my Thoth decks, you intrinsically know by the back that it's a Thoth deck. It's covered in lots of browns, lots of patterns that just make you think of the Thoth backs. So. And with this one, because this is an oracle and a collage, I decided to play around with quite a few images for what I wanted. And I knew I wanted some kind of rose with a brown background to really, again, have that kind of respect for the Thoth system. And I love how this turned out. But I could so see this as like a gift bag or something, you know? Love that. Okay. Number 8, surprised in a good way. Another Thoth, okay. Again, I worked really hard on this one. For my quintessential Thoth, this is the Thoth looking like through a microscope, right? That's how my friend Marlena described it. I loved that. I just loved when she said that because I was like, you are so right. And so this is my Thoth, a quintessential Thoth, right? Like, look at that, 4 of wands. God. Perfect Emperor. They just turned out so well. Here's my Chariot card, my Lust card, the cup that's inside the Cup of Abominations, the Ruin card, inside Persephone's Shower. That's what I named this because that's the 3 of Cups. Defeat. You see, we just saw the Defeat card in the Thoth Ozone. So see how the colors are the same. Look at that Hanged Man. God. So they're abstract, right? Like they're abstract, but we're really looking into it. And these images, you guys, are perfect. For anyone that knows the Thoth system, I worked extremely hard on this deck. And if I do say so myself, I think that these images turned out amazing. But the backs were killer, all right? Because again, I wanted to keep it brown. I wanted people to know that it was Thoth. And while... like after all of the fronts of the cards were done and the colors got right and everything, and I worked really hard on that, I was stumped. But once I found this kind of triangular geometric pattern, I thought, could I make this work? You know, could I make this work? And what I had to do was I had to keep changing the colors, but I had to keep downloading a colored image and then re-upload and then change those colors and like keep imposing colors on top of colors to get this kind of brown, right? Like this golden floor looking. It looks like a floor. This shit looks like, to me, this looks like kind of like a weird hardwood floor. And it took me a while to get this kind of vignetted brown. And so once I was done with it and I was like, yeah, this is nice, it surprised me because I love it. I wouldn't be able to have picked a better back for the quintessential, because just like the fronts, we're going in, and it's like this, it's a microscopic Thoth, right? Because it's the quintessential. I had to do the same with the backs. I had to be able to zoom into the backs of an OG Thoth tarot and see what patterns would emerge. And this is definitely what I saw. Some kind of geometry and this kind of golden brown. So it really surprised me. And I love that. I love when they do that. I love when decks do that. 9, most like me. Now, I chose, in kind of a cheeky way, I chose my Dirty Offering Oracle. This is the mini. I love this deck, okay? This is all my art. My art to the goddess. She asked me for a dirty offering, and I delivered with my soft pastels. And made, look at that memory card. God. So, tongues. Anew. It's like a sprout. Cleanse. I scratched these into the images. Truth. Solace. It wasn't supposed to be like this, but it looks cool that it looks like a tree with leaves. So I don't know, just turned out that way. This is one of my favorite cards, the War card. This blood-soaked battlefield here. And this is definitely dirty. I got really dirty doing this. Look at this decay. But it's cheeky because I picked this because it's most like me, because I actually made these backs. This is my art. So instead of like, while all the backs of the decks are made by me and collaged by me, and colored and juxtaposed in computerized digital ways, this is my hand to paper, my soft pastels in my hand with my crayons, with my dusted fingers, my dirty dusted fingers, that made these specific images. So I scratched these colors into the paper myself, It wasn't something that was digitalized at all, except for when I had to scan them in. But this, gosh, this whole deck was a labor. I mean, 63 images. And I scratched them all into the paper. And so this whole deck probably of all of them feels the most like me. But this right here, this back, because you can see how I scratched the colors into it. Like you can see, like this is, the background is this like a turquoise green, sea foam, dark sea foam. And I mixed a couple of colors to get that in the soft pastels. And then I, again, vignetted it with these browns and this dirt. I had like this kind of fertile dirt, like dark dirt that I was using to add some nature magic to the deck. So you can kind of see the dirt in some of the images. But, oh, look at that birth card. Oh, I had someone message me that says that they can feel that card in their groin. I'm here to tell you that is the point, okay? Yeah, anyway, love that came up. So, but this mark that I made was an afterthought, and I was like, no, it needs something else. It needs more blood. It needs more vibrancy, and I chose to mark like really hard with my crayon, with a blood red crayon, in the middle, and you can really see the crayon marks in that. And so anyway, this is mostly me because I made it all myself. Like this is my like I will say my pen to paper art. Okay, and then last, oh, deserves love and attention. Now this is another oldie but goodie, okay? This is a deck that I've had like 5 years ago. I came up with this. Is my Noble Art Tarot. And I came up with these backs because I wanted the backs to feel very Edwardian. Maybe Victorian, but more Edwardian. I really wanted this kind of, I don't know what to say, motif, I guess you could say. I wanted the backs to feel like you were going to step inside. Now, I know that this is from a church, okay? But I wanted it to feel very sanctuary-like. I wanted it to pull you in. Now, this could have also gone into Portal to Another World, but this is a portal of a different kind. This is a portal that's not sending me to another world. This circle rose glass window sends me into the depth of art. And the art that I love, which is the, like the pre-Raphaelite type of art. And so back when people were starting to use these images for tarot decks, the Tarot of Delphi was the deck. Okay, it was the only deck. And then I was like, you know what? These are public domain images. I'm going to crop and see what I can do, because no one could access the Tarot of Delphi at that time. It was like one of those limited print runs, and they never really came back out with another one until the Majestic Earth was taking over that domain of the Tarot of Delphi. So you really didn't have access for like 2 years. You didn't have access to a deck like this. So I had the only one on the market, because I made it all myself, came up with what I wanted for each card, worked really hard on executing it. And I thought I did a good job, but nobody even knew I existed back then on YouTube, hardly. So getting the word out about this deck was pretty hard, pretty rough. But it's out, it's been out for like 5 years, and it was the only one on the market for a long time. And now we have quite a few renditions of this kind of pre-Raphaelite era art inside of a tarot deck. So, but yeah, this is my noble art. Love it. The people that have it love it. They love the choices that I made for all the images. Like, look at that Cinderella card for 5 of Pentacles. Perfect. I love them so much. I love Evelyn de Morgan. Love her so much. The 6 of Cups, like, looking at me and trying to give me this bowl of flowers. Just perfect. 9 of Wands. Can't ask for better. And again, this was made so long ago that there are probably better editions of, like, the Huntress. What is that called? The Huntress Tarot? God, I don't know what it's called. Those decks are beautiful and beautifully made, right? But we've come a long way in how to produce these decks. I just had to crop and get colors right and stuff like that, and then put the images, the text on the cards. And I was very much a newbie tarot creator, but the images themselves spoke so loud that I needed it. I needed this deck in my life. And the people that have my edition of this love it. And but like I said, there's quite a bit of other this kind of style, you know, of art out. But yeah, I was the OG. I was the OG of making my own art deck, I guess you could say, back in the day. Mariana as the 5 of Cups. I couldn't have picked a better 5 of Cups than Mariana from Measure for Measure. Look at that death card. Yes! Okay, anyway. Love the stack. Love it. But the backs needed to have that same kind of feeling. That we're stepping into a museum. You know? So this is a portal to art and less of another world, you know. But Noble Art has been a sacred deck in my collection. And so, yeah. But it deserves love and attention, because the whole deck, to me, the whole deck needs more attention than it gets, probably. Because as I make more and more decks, I tend to have to remind myself to go back and look at all my older decks. Not just the ones that I've made, but like the older decks that, like, that I have in my collection that I haven't seen in a while, you know, because new things come out. You kind of shuffle things around. You get things out that you're interested in now, and you put those out, like those couple of decks or whatever. And then you kind of forget what you've got, especially if you have a bigger collection. And so I have to remind myself that this is a sacred tool, and I love working with it. And I always get really good readings with it that make that fill the void of whatever the void may be. And so I have to remind myself to come back and look at all these. Some of these I haven't seen in a while. Like my Candescent Oracle, I haven't even used in a long time. So it's getting these out is reminding me that, hey, I need to play with my own, you know, my own toys. And so anyway, yeah, there were 10 linen decks and their backs. So I want to thank Ravneet and everyone else that has done this tag. So go click the tag and look up all the people, okay? And I've found some good tarot channels through. I always end up finding at least 1 or 2 new channels. So that's, you know, that's something that I love about tags like this, is that I'm always finding new people. So anyway, go show them all some love, and go watch the original video by Ravneet. And I shall see y'all soon. Thank you for coming along with me. Much love, everybody.